Are you considering moving to Johannesburg, South Africa? Well, here are 7 things you need to know, but no one's going to tell you. My name is No Limit Eddie. I'm a 25-year-old American who has been traveling the world full time for the last 4 years. And I've had the pleasure to stay in 2 different areas in Johannesburg, South Africa. First was Edenvale, which is a birthplace of the pop star Tyler. And the second is Sandton, which is dubbed the richest square mile in all of Africa. I'm going to be bringing you the raw truth. If you like that mission, then drop a like on today's video. The language. You see, the English spoken in Johannesburg is top tier. For the first 3 years of my traveling journey, I went to countries where English was not really an official language. I became a master at speaking in broken English and using hand signs and head nods to communicate what I wanted to say. It wasn't until last year when I went to Uganda, a former English colony, that I remembered the beauty of living in a place where everyone speaks English. Now, while South Africans do have a different slang and accents and lingo, with enough time in the country and a good local to explain things to you, you'll be able to pick it up relatively easy. So, reason number 1 is very simple to communicate: cost of living. Now, one of the biggest lies that I was told about the country of South Africa years and years before I even considered visiting was that it was expensive. I don't really know where this lie originated from, but this is why I am campaigning on passport parties. Before I let someone tell me anything about a country, let's have a roundtable, pull out your passport, and show me that you've been to the country you want to tell me about. Because in the Black community, most of the advice we get around countries to stay away from, we getting it from people who've never even been to that country to begin with. So, is South Africa actually expensive? I'm going to say no, not at all, if you're just living a regular day-to-day life. South Africa is one of those places where you get what you pay for. And in some cases, you get more than what you pay for, especially in terms of real estate. If you're coming from the US, the real estate deals there are mind-boggling. However, if you're doing touristy things, then yes, you're going to spend a lot of money very quickly because all tourist attractions are cash grabs. Reason number 2 is the cost of living in South Africa is better than it is in the USA. Welcoming people. The vast majority of the people in Johannesburg made me feel very welcomed into their city. In fact, it's one of those places where you almost feel like people treat you just like you're one of them. And I'll let you know from years worth of experience, that is very rare. Yes, once I spoke, they knew I was American, and that probably helped me out in quite a few situations. But what I can say is, even with them knowing that I was American, it didn't lead to them looking at me like an opportunity, or it didn't lead to them wanting to extract as much money or value from me as humanly possible. It felt like people were genuinely wanting me to enjoy and have a good time in their city. So, reason number 3 is, you're celebrated, not just tolerated. Credit cards. One of the biggest things I'm concerned about when I travel to a new country is how I'm going to access my money. You see, because one of the biggest costs that travelers face but don't actually calculate is foreign exchange fees. My bank, for example, provides me with a very, very competitive exchange rate. So I prefer just using my card anywhere I go versus going to the ATM. Because in some countries, let's use Thailand for an example, ATMs there are going to give you a disgusting exchange rate. And then on top of that, they have the nerve to charge you $7 to access your own money. Oh, and by the way, I have a full chapter going deep on the best banks, the best credit cards, the most cost-effective ways of accessing your money while traveling throughout the entire world. That starts on page 8 of my ultimate relocation guide. The good thing about South Africa was I was able to pay with my cards everywhere. I only had to withdraw cash when I was going to the laundromat because they didn't accept cards. But if I had a place, Airbnb in this case, with a washing machine, problem avoided. Super modern. This is something that really surprised me. Walking onto the plane in Egypt and walking off of the plane in Johannesburg, I felt like I traveled 50 years into the future. The city of Johannesburg is so modern. They're up to date on everything, even the fashion. Like right now, the big, overly baggy clothes is in style. It's been in style now for the last 1 to 2 years. But if I go to a store in Egypt right now, what am I going to see? Skinny work. When I was going into stores in South Africa, they had the latest drip. If you go right now and ask Egyptian on the street who won the Drake and Kendrick beef, they're gonna be like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about? Beef? Go to the market right here." You ask someone in South Africa about that, they're going to give you a song by song breakdown. While I do prefer my more rural, slow pace of life, I do like a dab of modernness from time to time. Job opportunities. The one thing that I caution anyone who's looking to move to an African country to do is to banish from their mind the plan of getting a job. Because you will work 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week to make $150 a month. And no, I'm not exaggerating. I didn't believe it either until I talked to local after local and after local, and all their stories lined up. Until this day, whenever I travel to a new country and learn something new, you're getting an updated copy once I release it. So when I go back to update it this time, I'm going to make a caveat to that whole abandon the idea of getting a job if you're looking to go to South Africa. Because that is one country where you can find livable wage jobs in that country as a foreigner. And that's a huge win for those of you guys who don't want to run your own show. And even if you are an entrepreneur, I'll just say this since we're kind of getting close to the end of this video. South Africa was one of the countries that I went to as an entrepreneur where I felt like I needed to step it up, where I felt like a tiny fish in a big ocean and I needed to grow. And so even if you are an entrepreneur, it will motivate you. Walkability. One thing that's important to me about a city is its ability to be walked. Like, I will happily walk 1 hour to a destination and walk 1 hour back. You see, because I work from home, I'm always in my house. And so I need an excuse and a reason to get outside. And so going for a nice walk to go grab food or to go to a park or go to the mall or go do something is a good enough excuse for me to get out the house, get some sun on my body, and interact with humanity. And so Joburg is for sure one of the best cities to go walking in. They have things like good sidewalks, actual traffic lights, and they also have like real intersections. And so walking in South Africa is quite nice. If you found this video to be helpful, then leave a like on it. And before you go anywhere, maybe you're not sure if South Africa is the right country for you to move to or visit. Well, how about this? Check out the video where I ranked every single country I've ever been to, and you might just find the one or the country that's perfect for you.